Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is late January 2026. And look, if you were listening to this, you don't need me to tell you what the air feels like outside right now.
Right.
We are a few weeks out from Hurricane Melissa.
Yeah, the adrenaline is definitely worn off.
Exactly. The adrenaline is gone, the immediate shock is gone, and we are in that very specific, very gritty phase of recovery. You walk down the street in Kingston or go out to the parishes, it's the sound of generators, it's the smell of, drying drywall.
Yeah.
It's families patching roofs and business owners literally sweeping water out of their storefronts.
It's the taking stock phase. You check the cistern, you check the pantry, and then you look at the house and you just wonder, okay, how much is this actually going to cost?
Right. Everyone is asking, okay, we survived, now what? And usually that conversation is about bricks and mortar. It's about zinc. It's about lumber. It's about getting the power back on.
Right.
But we stumbled upon a report released just a few days ago by Jamaica Homes that suggests we need to be talking about something else entirely.
It's a fascinating piece of analysis. It's titled After the Storm, and it features some really heavy-hitting insights from their founder, Dean Jones. And honestly, it's a bit of a wake-up call.
It is.
It's not the comfortable read you might want right now, but it's definitely the necessary one.
It is. Because the premise isn't about, better concrete or stronger hurricane shutters. Those matter. The argument is that Hurricane Melissa didn't just break our buildings. It broke the old way of doing business. It exposed a fundamental flaw in how we value and manage property in Jamaica.
It's moving the conversation from relationships and intuition, as they put it, to data and discipline. And that is a hard shift for a culture that, let's be honest, runs on handshakes.
So that's our mission today. We're going to unpack why your gut feeling about a property might actually be a liability in 2026, and why the most important tool for rebuilding isn't a hammer, it's a record.
Let's dive in.
I want to start with that culture aspect. Because if you know the Jamaican real estate market, really know it, it's personal. It's not cold and transactional like maybe in some other places.
Oh, incredibly so. It's built on deep, deep roots.
It's not an algorithm deciding value. It's, I know Mr. Campbell. He built that house in '85. He used good steel. He didn't cut corners.
Right. It's built on trust.
It is.
And history. You have owners who have held onto a commercial building or a family home for 40 years. They know every creak. They know that when the wind blows from the north, the back window rattles.
Exactly.
And the agents know the families.
Yeah.
That handshake culture is beautiful. It's social capital. It's what makes the community feel like a community.
Right. And nobody is saying that's bad.
Yeah.
We aren't here to bash the culture.
No, not at all. That social fabric is vital. But the analysis from Jamaica Homes points out that while that social capital is an asset, it's no longer sufficient. It's hitting a wall. You can't handshake your way out of the problems we are facing in 2026.
Hitting a wall, how? What's changed so much that Mr. Campbell's word just isn't enough?
Well, think about the variables we are dealing with right now compared to even 10 years ago. It's not just about the building anymore. It's about rising energy costs eating into your margins.
Yeah.
It's about insurance companies who are, let's be honest, absolutely terrified right now, becoming incredibly strict about what they cover.
I was going to say, try getting a renewal quote this week. It's a nightmare. I've heard stories of premiums doubling overnight.
Exactly. And then you add in the climate exposure. Hurricane Melissa wasn't a fluke. It's part of a pattern. When you mix all those complex, high-stakes variables together, relying on, I feel good about this building, or my cousin said it's solid, just doesn't cut it. The margin for error is gone.
There was a line in the report that really stuck with me. It said something like, storms do not create weaknesses.
They reveal them.
Yes.
That's it.
That is the aha moment. It really is.
Yeah.
Because we all drive past these buildings every day. They look solid. They're concrete. They've been there since we were kids. But then the storm hits. And suddenly that deferred maintenance you ignored.
It's not deferred anymore. It's a failure.
The cracks you painted over. Now they are structural issues. And the argument here is that if we had better data, if we weren't just relying on a visual check and a handshake, we might have seen that coming. We might have known that the roof anchors were corroded because we had a record of when they were installed.
And that brings us to the core argument Dean Jones is making. He has this quote in the report that I think we need to pin to the wall. He says, "Experience matters in real estate, but experience without records becomes opinion."
Right.
And opinion is a weak foundation when the stakes are high.
Opinion is a weak foundation. That stings a little bit, doesn't it?
It challenges the ego.
It does. Because we all like to think we have good instincts. I know a good house when I see one. I can feel the vibes.
Yeah.
But you're saying that in a post-hurricane market, I can't take my instincts to the bank.
You literally cannot. You can't insure an opinion. You can't finance an opinion. Try telling an insurance adjuster, I feel like this roof is good. They will laugh you out of the room.
Yeah.
They want the receipt. They want the contractor certification. They want the date.
But let me play devil's advocate here. Because whenever we start talking about data and records and, modernization, people get nervous.
Oh, yeah.
They hear technology and they think, great, here come the robots to replace the local experts. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
That an algorithm is going to replace the Jamaican real estate agent?
No, and I'm glad you brought that up because the source material is very specific about this. In Jamaica, local knowledge is irreplaceable.
Okay.
You cannot automate the nuance of a neighborhood or the understanding of a specific community dispute. That's human stuff. You need someone who knows the lay of the land.
So the robot isn't taking the job?
The robot is giving the human a better toolkit. The argument isn't data versus intuition. It's data supporting intuition. It's about arming the expert with facts so their intuition can actually shine.
Okay, help me visualize that.
Yeah.
What did that look like in practice? Let's say I'm a valuer. I'm walking into a property in St. Anne that's been damaged.
Okay, so right now, without data, you walk in. You look at the water line on the wall. You check the roof from the ground. Maybe climb up a ladder if it's safe. You make an educated guess based on what you see in that moment.
Right.
But that building has a history you can't see.
Right. I don't know if the pipes behind the wall are 40 years old or 4 years old.
Exactly. But if you have access to verified maintenance records, the data foundation, you know exactly when the roof was last sealed. You know what materials were used. You know the electrical system was upgraded in 2024 by a certified contractor. You aren't guessing.
So instead of guessing the risk, you are calculating it.
Precisely. You can say, okay, there's water damage here, but I know the wiring is modern and waterproof rated, so the repair cost is X, not Y. It changes the whole math.
Or look at it from the lender's perspective. You want to borrow money to rebuild. If you present your property as a mystery box, the bank has to assume the worst-case scenario to protect themselves. They price the loan high because they are scared of what they don't know.
Right, but if you walk in with a digital history of that, asset records, warranties, maintenance logs, you have de-risked the loan. You turn common sense into something actionable. You are basically saying, here is the proof that I take care of this asset.
I like that phrasing used in the report. Common sense needs something solid to stand on. Because especially in Jamaica, we have a history of informal construction.
We do. It's the build-as-you-go method.
Additions done without plans. Uncle puts on a spare room on the weekends. And that worked for a long time. It got families housed. But now,
in this climate, that informality is a liability. That solid ground is missing. If you have an undocumented addition and the hurricane blows it away, good luck getting the insurance payout. Creating that data trail retroactively, if we have to, is how we stabilize the market.
Now, this isn't just about houses. There is a whole section in this analysis about the commercial sector. And honestly, reading it, it felt like there was a bit of a quiet revolution happening there that nobody is talking about.
It is quiet, but it is profound. If you are a commercial landlord in Jamaica in early 2026, your world looks completely different than it did in 2020.
Really?
The rules of the game have changed while we weren't looking.
How so? I mean, an office is still an office, right? 4 walls, a desk, some AC.
Not anymore. First, you have the hybrid work shift. That's global, but it's hit here too. Companies don't need rows of cubicles. They need collaboration spaces.
Right. Less space, but better space.
Better space. But more importantly, look at retail. It's not just about renting square footage. It's about the tenant mix, the experience, and warehousing.
I see warehouses popping up everywhere, especially out near the highway corridors.
But only in specific corridors. Logistics is king now. If you aren't near the right infrastructure, your warehouse is empty. So if you are a landlord, you can't just put up a for rent sign and wait for the phone to ring.
You have to anticipate. You have to know who needs what before they even ask.
You have to model. Dean Jones calls this predictive analysis.
Okay, stop there. Predictive analysis sounds like expensive consultant speak. Break that down for the listener who owns a small strip mall in Mandeville. What does that actually mean for them?
It means asking hard questions and using math to answer them, rather than hope. It means modeling scenarios.
Scenarios like what?
What happens to your solvency, your ability to pay the mortgage, if your occupancy dips by 20% for 6 months? Can you survive that?
That's a scary question. Most people don't want to ask that.
It is, but you have to. Or look at the climate data. We aren't just talking about hurricanes, we're talking about heat. How exposed is this specific building to prolonged heat stress?
Heat stress.
Think about your cooling systems. If we have a summer that is 2 degrees hotter than average, and your AC system is 10 years old and inefficient, your energy bill just doubled. Your profit margin just evaporated.
And if you pass that cost to the tenant, they might leave.
Exactly. So predictive analysis is basically saying, let's stress test the business before the reality tests it. Let's figure out if we need to upgrade the chiller now or if we need to put solar on the roof now to survive the heat wave in July.
And the big, brutal question the report asks is, does this asset justify reinvestment, or should I take my capital and move it?
That's the hold or fold moment.
It is. And if you answer that with your gut, oh, I love this building, my grandfather built it, you might go broke. If you answer it with data, you survive.
And survival brings us to the next big theme, which I think is maybe the most misunderstood word in business right now, sustainability.
Oh, absolutely. Because I feel like when people hear sustainability in Jamaica, they tune out. They think that's for the luxury hotels on the North Coast, or that's some green trend for PR
Oh,
brochures.
just to have. Look at us. We are green.
Right. But this report is shouting from the rooftops that in 2026, sustainability is not a trend, it is a financial filter.
A financial filter. That is the key phrase. Think of it like a sieve. If your building consumes excessive energy, or if you rely on outdated systems that break constantly, or if you lack documented maintenance, you don't get through the sieve.
And what happens if you don't get through?
You become uninsurable. And in this market, if you are uninsurable, you are largely unfinanceable. You have a stranded asset.
Wow.
You have a building that nobody wants to buy because nobody can get a loan for it.
So it's not about saving the polar bears in this context. It's about saving your bank account.
Dean Jones puts it very bluntly. He says, in Jamaica, sustainability isn't about being trendy. It's about keeping buildings insurable, financeable, and standing 10 years from now.
That puts a massive amount of pressure on the decisions people are making right now, like literally this week. People are going to the hardware store to buy materials to fix their roofs post-Melissa.
It does. And this is the danger zone. Because you're hurting financially, right? This storm just cost you money, so the temptation is to go cheap.
Buy the cheaper roofing, skip the insulation, get the standard AC unit instead of the inverter one.
Exactly. But the choices made in this recovery phase, what materials you buy, how you design the drainage, the efficiency of the systems you install, those choices define your resilience for the next 20 years. If you cheap out now and ignore the efficiency data, you are baking in higher costs and higher risk for decades.
It's the classic penny wise, pound foolish, but on a massive scale.
And the insurance companies know the difference. That's the thing. They are looking at that data. If you rebuild to the old standard, don't expect the new insurance rates. You might find yourself paying double what your neighbor pays because they installed hurricane straps and documented it, and you didn't.
I want to pivot here because we've been talking about commercial assets, solvency, risk modeling.
Yeah.
It can feel a little cold, a little corporate.
Yeah.
And for the listener who just trying to get their family home back in order, this digital twin stuff might sound like a distraction.
It can feel distant. When you are sweeping water out of your living room, you aren't thinking about data architecture. You're thinking about shelter. You're thinking about your kids.
Right.
You're thinking about where you're going to sleep tonight.
But the report argues that these principles are actually more critical for the homeowner. Why is that?
Think about what a home represents in Jamaica. For most families, land and housing are the single biggest form of intergenerational wealth. It's not the stock market. It's the yard.
It's the legacy. It's what you pass down. This is granddad's land.
And how do you protect a legacy? You can't just protect it with a fence. You protect it with clear records.
What do you mean?
Well, think about transfer. When the time comes to pass that property down, or if there is an inheritance dispute, which we know happens, family land issues are legendary, or if you need to leverage that equity to send a child to university, if the records are a mess.
If the title is unclear, or the boundaries aren't surveyed, or nobody knows who paid the taxes for the last 10 years.
Exactly. If the data is bad, that wealth is locked. It's frozen. You have $1 million asset that you can't use. It's what economists call dead capital.
That's a really important point. The data is the key that unlocks the value of the home for the family. It turns the pile of bricks into actual financial power.
And there is a generational shift happening too. We have to talk about the diaspora.
Oh, absolutely. My cousin in Toronto is always the first one to call when something happens.
Hmm.
Is the roof okay? Do you need money?
And he wants to know what's going on.
He wants to see it on his phone. He wants photos. He wants receipts.
Exactly. The diaspora influence is huge. You have younger Jamaicans and those living abroad who expect transparency. They are used to Zillow, they are used to digital contracts, they are used to seeing the history of a property with a click.
They don't want to fly down and dig through a filing cabinet in a dusty government office.
They won't. If the Jamaican market stays in the handshake and paper file era, it becomes inaccessible to them. You are effectively locking out your own people, your biggest investors, because the system is too opaque.
If they can't trust the data, they won't send the money.
So modernizing the data isn't just about efficiency. It's about inclusion. It's about letting the diaspora participate safely.
Yes, but, and this is a massive but, we have to be careful. The source material makes a really critical point about importing technology.
Right. The warning against just copy-pasting what they do in Miami or New York.
Jamaica operates under different conditions.
Yeah.
Our scale is smaller, our margins are tighter, and our infrastructure has different challenges.
Right.
There is this brilliant line in the article: Jamaica does not need smart buildings that cannot survive a power cut.
I loved that line. It's so real. It's like, great, you have a voice-activated lock that costs $500, but JPS is down and now you can't get in your house.
Exactly. That is the definition of useless technology. We don't need smart for the sake of smart. We need resilient tech.
Yeah.
We need technology that works here.
So what does resilient tech look like in a Jamaican context?
It means human-centric tech.
Mm-hmm.
Technology that serves the basic human needs of shelter and community, not complicates them. Give me an example.
Okay, instead of a complex, cloud-based home automation system that requires high-speed fiber to turn on the lights, maybe it's a simple, robust solar system with battery storage that allows you to monitor your consumption on your phone via a local connection.
Practical. It solves a real problem keeping the lights on and uses data to do it efficiently.
Or a digital title system that is accessible even on low bandwidth. It's about adapting the tool to the reality of the island. It's realizing that a high-tech building that requires 247 perfect grid connectivity is actually a liability in a hurricane zone.
100%. The goal isn't to chase trends, it's to improve decision-making.
If the tech doesn't help you make a better decision or sleep safer at night, get rid of it. If it doesn't help you prove to the bank that your house is still standing, it's just a toy.
This is fascinating because it really reframes the whole recovery process. We aren't just putting bricks back together, we are having to upgrade our mindset.
It's a mental reconstruction as much as a physical one. We have to shift from "I hope it holds" to "I know it holds, and here is the proof."
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's try to summarize the journey we've been on. We started with the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, this moment of vulnerability.
And we moved to the realization that the old way, relying purely on opinion, intuition, and who you know, is a trap in this new climate. We've seen that data isn't the enemy of the local expert. It's the foundation that lets the expert do their job.
We looked at the commercial towers, where predictive analysis is the only way to stay solvent, and we looked at the family home, where records are the key to unlocking generational wealth.
And the common thread through all of it: survival. The big takeaway for me is that we aren't abandoning Jamaican culture. We aren't saying don't trust your neighbor. We're saying arm that relationship with the records it needs to survive the next storm.
Is protecting the trust with truth.
Beautifully put. Protecting the trust with truth.
And I think that leads us to a final thought for our listeners. As you look around your community this week, as you see the repairs happening, as you maybe talk to a contractor, ask yourself a question.
We are all busy repairing the physical structure, the roof, the walls, the fence. But are we also building the digital foundation? Are you gathering the records, the data, and the documentation that ensures this property and its value survives the next one?
Right.
Because the next one is coming.
The concrete protects you from the wind. The data protects you from everything else.
That's it.
Thank you for listening to this deep dive. It's a heavy time for Jamaica, but also a time of huge opportunity to build back better and smarter. Stay safe out there, and we'll catch you on the next one.